What if you could go back in time and you knew more before you made those big decisions in life? What would you do differently? What advice would have helped you then and now? Welcome to Know Before You Owe podcast. I am Jim Black, and I've been lucky to have gone from being a market maker on Wall Street, helping big decisions be made with key executives at companies, to now being a trusted advisor for large financial real estate transactions for families. In my career, I've met some of the most incredible people along the way, and we're lucky to have them share their experiences with us on this podcast. These are top experts in their fields, great leaders in work and in life. Guests will share their life experiences, wisdom, and insights that you can leverage in your own decisions in life. Thank you, and please stay tuned for our upcoming episodes, and I'm excited to help you know more before you owe. Please subscribe to learn more, and we look forward to seeing you on our next podcast. Hi, it's Jim Black from Know Before You Owe podcast, and I'm excited today to bring someone that has been a mentor to me in my career, and not only from a business perspective, but from a personal perspective. Please meet Peter Schwartz. Peter is a longtime executive in the financing industry. And what I love most about Peter is we've known each other now for about 10 years. And Peter is one of these guys that is full of wisdom from street smarts to life events, but also he is a forever student of gaining knowledge through books. Peter has read over 2,000 books, and I'm super excited to have him talk today about some of the perspectives he has that can help us all with looking back in life and making better decisions for us in the future. So welcome, Peter. Thanks for being here.
Great. Thanks for having me, Jim. Happy to be here. Good to see you.
So, Peter, you were my boss for several years. And what I admire most about you is your story about how you got into really the human business of connecting with people. Can you tell us about your story about a fateful trip to San Diego and why you went to San Diego?
Sure. I used to work for a outward bound type ropes course where people come up and have breakthroughs and jump off mountains and cliffs and get over their fears and have that fear, but do it anyway. And then many years ago, I read a book by Tony Robbins and I got inspired. And I happened to move to San Diego at the time. And I wrote him a letter saying, hey, Tony, we should get together. I'd love to work with you because we have similar backgrounds. And, he didn't write back. And then 2 months go by, 3 months go by. And I'm like, he's probably too busy. I'm going to go over there and visit him. So I go to the office and I go to the front desk and they're like, can I help you? And yeah, I'd like to see Tony. Well, he's a very busy man. Do you have an appointment? And I said, no. I just want to spend 5 minutes with him. I'm sorry, you need an appointment. And I didn't look like a stalker. I had a suit on. I was professional. And just then the head of HR walked by and she said, what's going on? I said, I just want 5 minutes with you. And she says, okay, come on back. And I said, look, I wrote Tony a letter and I assert that he's just too busy to respond to his people and you need to respond to his people. And she said, your timing is perfect. He and his wife were just talking about that. We need to do this. Do you have a little time? I said, yeah. And we spent like 2 hours there and we created a job where I would help respond to the people that wrote into him because he was too busy to do it. And I worked side by side with him where he showed me what to write and what to respond to. And it morphed into a coaching job where I would coach people on his programs. I got to do every seminar he's ever done and spend a lot of time with him. It was just a great experience. I learned so much, things I tap into every day in my personal and my professional life. So it was a great create a job story and also have a great run with one of the most motivational people in the world.
That's awesome. So you're in Tony Robbins' own mindset about how his perspective of what mattered to him and how he could respond to it. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Very cool story. And from that, I'm sure you've had a lot of perspective on success in both business and in personal life elements. Can you share one of your favorite business success stories with our audience?
Sure. I think I was in the mortgage business, and then during the mortgage meltdown in 2007-8, I was managing a branch of about 30 people, and it was the hardest time and my most proudest time of management because I really had to dip into everything I learned from Tony Robbins and from anywhere. And we managed to do that process. We didn't lose one person over 4 years. And one of the most inspiring thing is we had to have a layoff and lay off 2 people that weren't producing. And everyone said, no, we're not going to lose them. We'll all cut our hours together. So everyone cut their hours rather than losing people. And I still could bring a tear to my eye. And that's the kind of group and the culture that we had. And I was really proud to navigate through that. That's the hardest I've ever worked to, keep a team and a culture together. And we made it through the meltdown and thrived after that. So it's really an amazing time.
I've never heard of that from a perspective of that time during the industry, because there were layoffs pretty much everywhere, right? And that's impressive. That's awesome. So that's business, and we know that business is part of our venture through life. But I know that your personal perspective or some of your favorite moments, I always like to hear and appreciate. Can you share a personal moment that stands out to you that that you're really proud of?
Let's see. I would say, I've been married 32 years. That's a feat in itself, to my best friend. And we've got a great life together, and we have a son who's turning 22 in a month or so. And we're just really proud of the fact that he's a great kid and doing great things, and passed on my knowledge to him. That makes me really happy. He's at Boise State, and he's a writer. And yesterday he told me he was reading a book of a guy that he really admired, and he looked him up, and turns out he's in Boise as well. And he called him and said, I really like your stuff. I'd love to get to know you. And they met for coffee yesterday and met for like 2 hours. And now this guy is going to mentor him. So
sounds very familiar to your journey, right?
Exactly. He's learning how to do, he's got the gift of gab, and he doesn't have a social fear in the world. And it's really, I could go to sleep at night knowing he's going to be all right. And he'll make it. So it's exciting.
Cool.
Proud of that.
That's really, really awesome. Max is a fantastic kid. I've met him a couple times at your house, and fantastic guy. So looking back in your own career, if you were to go back to, say, when Max was in college's age, maybe 19 to 21 area, what advice would you give yourself? Because this show is really catered around know before you owe, and owe does not mean money necessarily. It means something about a life perspective that would help you be more successful in whatever you're looking to do. You have something that stands out that you'd like to go back in time, like a time warp back to when you were back in the East Coast. I'd love to get something perspective like that.
Yeah, I'd say a few things. Maybe one of my mottos is life works. So, stay out of the way and just let it happen, and follow the river, and don't resist. So things have a way of working out, and then just know in the long perspective that that's a good perspective to have, because it'll take a lot of stress from your life. Secondly, I'm recovering from Achilles surgery right now. I've done a lot of marathons and triathlons, and lately I'm a big pickleball fanatic, and I had to have Achilles surgery. And I'd have to say it's from not stretching. So as an older guy, I would say when you're younger, stretch. Make sure you stretch. They say you're as young as your spine is flexible. So stay flexible, because one of my goals is to walk a mile on my 100th birthday with Max. And to do that, I have to be in good shape. So I'm always working on staying in shape throughout your life. I would recommend that as well. And lastly is a philosophy I got from Tony Robbins called CANI, C-A-N-I, which stands for constant and never-ending improvement. So always be growing, learning, working on yourself, improving. And that's what keeps me young and youthful and excited and passionate about everything that I do.
Awesome. And I like the stretching analogy, because that's not just a physical thing. It's also a mental thing, or an emotional thing, or a challenge thing, right? Push yourself to be a better person every day, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So one of the things I remember most when we worked together was you would always have this coin with you, and you would kind of play with it a little bit, and it would always be with you wherever you were. Can you please share a little bit of perspective on this coin that you may still have today?
I still have it in my pocket, and it's a coin. I follow a guy named Ryan Holiday, who's a big influencer in Stoicism. And there's a coin I got from him. It's one side, it says memento mori, which means on the other side says you could leave life right now. And it's a reminder to always be by my side, to be in the moment and know that it could go like that, and life happens fast. And, don't take it for granted, and be present as much as possible. as I get older in age, I'm being really careful of my language, because I think language speaks reality and your perspective. And I try and say I'm not on the back nine or the final chapters of my life. I like to say, the best is yet to come. Politics aside, look at Trump and Biden, who just got to the ultimate office in America. They're both in their late 70s, or Pete Carroll or Belichick are in their 70s. There's not the last chapter of the back nine. They say you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and most of the people I spend time with are younger than me and excited and getting after it at work, and that keeps me young and vibrant. And if I'm going to walk a mile on my 100th birthday with my son, I got a long way to go. So it's not the back nine at all. I'll keep saying it. The best is yet to come.
Also, won't your wife be there to help you film the?
Yeah, I had to add that part. She wants to be there to videotape it. So I think that's a good idea. I need her.
And what I love what you're doing now, you're still an executive in our industry, which is amazing, right? It's not an easy time in the beginning of 2023 to be doing what we do, but like you brought up the example in the last downturn, if someone has a passion, if they have culture, if they collaborate and they're a team and they have the same vision, you can overcome a lot of challenges that may present themselves in different ways. But if you have a team around you and you have strength in that team, you can get through things. So I'm always impressed by that, and that's a very big focus to have this year in business and in life. Yeah. Right? We just came out of COVID. There's talks of recessions. There's talks of inflation. It's just a good time to really hunker down, be thankful, and be grateful, like you do. One of my favorite things you've started recently is on Mondays. I'm always tuning into LinkedIn. Can you share with our audience about your Monday event you do?
Yeah, something that's real important to you that you always said is leaving a legacy. And I have all these Schwartzisms, I call them, lessons or wisdom I've learned over the years and from the books I've read. And I want to pass it on not only to my son to have it live somewhere, but to anyone else. If it inspires one person, then it's worth it. So instead of saying TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday, I have TGIM, thank goodness it's Monday, because why wait till Friday? So every Monday I send a little short video of a tidbit of something I'm working on or something I've worked on that can hopefully motivate, empower, or inspire somebody.
Love that, bud. I'm on that every day when you send those out on Mondays. And
awesome.
I just want to thank you for being an important part of my life. Legacy is important. We all have different views of what our legacy is going to be, but I'm really proud to call you a friend and a mentor and a collaborator and maybe a peer sometimes, but I'm really thankful for your friendship. And if you want to learn more about Peter and what he's doing, I would love to have you follow him on LinkedIn. Peter, what is your handle, I guess they call that? What's your?
Peter Schwartz in Sacramento, LinkedIn.
I'll send in the podcast notes. We'll have a link to your LinkedIn page. And
thank you.
Very grateful again for your time, and looking forward to sharing some wins with you this year. And I like the stretching mindset again. I'm gonna work on that every day. It doesn't take very long to do that, right? Couple minutes, but it can save you a lot of headaches and pain down the road.
All right, I'll be watching you. You know it. Well, thanks. I'm really proud of what you're doing and who you're becoming and raising a great family. And I'm so thrilled we stay in touch, and I know we always will.
Please stay tuned for our next podcast, and very happy to have Peter on as a big influencer. Again, follow Peter. 2,000 books he's read with some of the most inspiring leaders in thought and success. And you're talking to the guy who wrote a lot of letters back to you if you're following Tony Robbins. And thank you guys again. Stay tuned for our next podcast. And thanks for joining Know Before You Owe, and make it count.